You cut the cable, that's a federal crime. I don't care, I needed you offline. This is completely unacceptable behavior. I want your badge number now. You need to back off immediately, or I will use force. I was in the middle of a $50,000 presentation when my screen suddenly went black. My HOA president, Linda, decided she didn't like the ugly orange cable on my lawn. So she took matters into her own hands and chopped it in half. She stood there smiling, thinking she was enforcing the rules. But she had no idea that tampering with a telecommunications line isn't a civil dispute. It's a felony. Watch how a simple pair of garden scissors sent this entitled Karen straight to jail and cost her her entire life savings. If you believe entitled neighbors deserve to be taught a lesson,
yes, this is exactly what I've been looking for. HOA war stories. I have to subscribe right now.
you do not want to miss the next revenge. To understand why this happened, you need to know about my job. I work as a senior network architect for a major tech firm. My entire livelihood depends on having a stable, high-speed gigabit internet connection. Recently, fiber optic service finally became available in my neighborhood, and I was the very first person to sign up. The installation crew came out on a Tuesday. They ran the line from the street to my house, but because the ground was frozen, they couldn't bury it right away. They left a bright orange cable running along the edge of my lawn and told me, "Don't touch this. We'll be back in 48 hours with a trenching machine to bury it." It was standard procedure. Temporary, and honestly, you could barely even notice it unless you were actively looking for it. But Linda sees everything. Linda is our HOA president, and she is the definition of a nightmare neighbor. She walks the neighborhood with a ruler measuring grass height. Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. sharp, there was violent banging on my front door. I opened it, and there she was, pointing her finger inches from my face. "Alex, that hideous orange wire is a violation of Section 4. Article C of the HOA bylaws regarding unsightly debris. It ruins the aesthetic of the neighborhood. Remove it immediately." I stayed calm. I tried to be polite. "Linda, it's not debris. It's a utility line. The company is coming tomorrow to bury it. I literally cannot move it without losing my internet." She narrowed her eyes and gave me that classic entitled smirk. "I don't care what the company said. You have until noon to get rid of it, or I will handle it myself." I warned her, "Linda, if you touch that wire, you are tampering with utility property. Do not touch it," then I closed the door, thinking that was the end of it. I was wrong. Noon came and went. I was busy preparing for the most important meeting of my year. I was pitching a new software infrastructure to a massive client. If this deal closed, it meant a promotion and a huge bonus if it failed. Failure wasn't an option. The meeting started at 1 p.m. 20 minutes in, everything was perfect. The client loved the pitch. I was just about to present the final budget proposal when suddenly, silence. My video froze. The audio cut out, and then the terrifying dinosaur icon appeared. "No internet connection?" My heart dropped into my stomach. My backup router wouldn't connect either. I grabbed my phone, and that's when I saw movement outside my window. I ran to the living room and looked out. There was Linda, standing in the middle of my lawn, holding a massive pair of heavy-duty garden shears, and in her other hand, the severed end of my fiber optic cable. She had actually done it. I didn't walk outside. I sprinted. I burst through the front door yelling, "Linda, what are you doing?" She looked at me completely calm, completely unbothered. She actually smiled. "I told you, Alex," she said casually, waving the shears. "It was unsightly. Now it's gone. You can thank me later for protecting our property values." I was shaking with rage. "Linda, I was in a live meeting. You just cost me thousands of dollars. You cannot cut utility lines. She laughed. Oh, stop being dramatic. It's just a plastic wire. Go buy some tape and fix it. Then she said, now get off my lawn before I write you up for harassment. She turned around and walked away like she just done a good deed. She had no idea she just committed a serious crime. I didn't chase her. I didn't yell anymore. I pulled out my phone and called the police. Non-emergency line. I used very specific words. My neighbor has vandalized critical telecommunications infrastructure and committed malicious destruction of property. Because I mentioned utility infrastructure, the police didn't treat this as a civil issue. They arrived in less than 15 minutes. 2 officers walked up my driveway. I showed them the cut cable. I showed them the Ring doorbell footage. Clear as day, Linda walking up, inspecting the line and deliberately cutting it. The officers went to her house. She opened the door annoyed. Is this about Alex's wire? She asked before they even spoke. I'm the HOA president. I have authority to remove trash. Officer Miller stared at her. Ma'am, a fiber optic line is not trash. It is utility property protected by state and federal law. He asked, did you intentionally cut this line? Linda crossed her arms. Yes, and I'd do it again. He needs to learn the rules. Officer Miller shook his head. Ma'am, you've just confessed to criminal mischief and interference with public communications. Because of the cost and service disruption, this is a felony. Her face went pale. What, no? I'm the HOA president. You can't arrest me, I can. And I am turn around and place your hands behind your back. Watching Linda get handcuffed on her own front porch, in front of the neighbors she terrorized, was pure satisfaction. She screamed about lawsuits. Then the car door shut. She spent the night in jail. But the real consequences were just beginning. That meeting, I got disconnected from my company, lost the contract. Their legal department got involved. They sued Linda for tortious interference with business relations. Criminal court, she pleaded guilty. Avoided prison but got 2 years probation and community service. Civil court, the judge ordered her to pay $52,000 in damages. She didn't have it, she sold her house. 2 months later, a for sale sign went up. She resigned as HOA president in disgrace. The internet company buried the new line the very next day, deep underground, protected by conduit. Now I sit in my office with flawless gigabit internet. No rulers, no threats. No, Linda, before you cut a wire, make sure you aren't cutting your own freedom. Subscribe for more stories of entitled neighbors getting instant karma.